In this video, we're going to be going over my updated Urban EDC Backpack version 5. This is the backpack that I carry with me on a day-to-day basis when out and about in an urban environment. There's a lot to cover in this video. Let's get right down to it. If this is your first time on this channel, I'd like to welcome you. My name is Cliff, also known as the Urban Prepper, and I feature videos that center around the topic of emergency preparedness for those that live in an urban environment. Over the years, I've done a lot of different versions of the Urban EDC Backpack, dating all the way back to 2011. With all of those versions, while I did my best to try to keep them fairly discreet in their style, they all still kind of looked tactical. So whether it was 511 Tactical or Maxpedition or VanQuest or Vertex, all of those backpacks have a slight amount of MOLLE webbing and a tactical look to them. What I wanted to do for this particular version was to keep it very, very discreet and follow the gray man concept. So I went with an executive style backpack. This is just a leather backpack, and I wanted to leverage the modules that I store inside of the backpack itself to keep all of my emergency preparedness supplies and general EDC or prepping supplies in there, but to have it blend in with the overall look that I have while in the office. When I'm in the office, I'm oftentimes wearing a button-up shirt, maybe a sports coat, and I found that the leather backpack blends in a lot better with my particular work environment. There's a lot that's going to be covered in this video, and I'm going to be going at a fast pace. So as always, I've included a PDF document. You could download it by clicking the link in the description box below. It has a list of all the items that are going to be featured in this video. So make sure that you click that link and download the PDF document if you want a full listing of everything covered in this video. All of the items that you're going to be seeing in this video were purchased by myself. None of them are sponsored or I'm getting paid by any of the companies. You may notice that I have a lot of items from particular brands like Anker, for example. All of my electronics are from Anker. That's just because I really like Anker products and I find them to be high quality, but I have never spoken to Anker, so all the items I purchased myself. When it comes to everyday carry, I wanted a backpack that blends in, something that looks professional, not tactical. That's why I chose the Polare 17.3-inch full-grain leather backpack. It has a classic, understated design that fits right in with other high-tech professionals in the city. But inside, it's packed with a carefully curated set of EDC modules. One of the things I really like about this bag is the outer pockets. They make it easy to grab commonly used items without having to dig through the main compartments. The shoulder straps and top handle are well built and comfortable. And the vented back panel helps prevent overheating, which is great for all-day wear. Since it's full-grain leather, it will develop scuffs and marks over time, but that just adds to its character. It's not meant to stay pristine, it's meant to age well and look even better as it breaks in. For me, this backpack strikes the perfect balance between style, practicality, and durability. It fits in anywhere, but it's still packed with everything I need to be prepared for whatever the day throws at me. It's not the lightest backpack out there, weighing at just under 4 pounds, so I've had to be extra careful with the weight of the individual items that are stored inside of it, but the overall weight of this current version of the Urban EDC Backpack works for me, where it's not too heavy for EDC purposes. It's light enough that my son could carry it if he wanted to, and my daughter is able to pick it up with no problem. Let's start off first by going through the items that are stored in the outer pockets before going into the main compartment areas of the backpack. Let's go through the items in the top left pocket. I like to call this one my mini modules pocket because I have a few mini modules stored in here. I've been using the Manhattan Portage coin purses for my mini modules following the color of prepping. The first mini module is yellow, which in the color of prepping stands for electronics. This one was previously featured in my EDC video, but lately I've been storing it in my EDC backpack for quick grab-and-go charging capabilities for my phone. Let's open it up now. The main item stored in there is an Anker 25-watt USB-C charger block. This is a compact foldable charger with fast charging support. I've switched all of my cables to USB-C whenever possible. To go along with the Anker charger, I also have a few Anker charging cables. The first one is a 1-foot 60-watt USB-C cable, which I mainly use for charging my smartphone. I also have an Anker USB-C to Lightning cable. This is a fast charging cable for iPhone or iPads. While most of my electronics are USB-C, I still have a few that require the Lightning cable. And those are all the items stored in the mini electronics module. Next, I have a red Manhattan Portage coin pouch, which I use for my mini pharmacy module. I'm not going to go into this one in too many details, but basically I store a large variety of individually wrapped over-the-counter medications in here. So things that you could get in the office or in first aid kits like Tylenol or Dayquil or ibuprofen or aspirin. I have a wide variety of different over-the-counter individually wrapped medications in this pharmacy module. And the last mini module that I store in this outer pocket is my dental hygiene module. This one uses a white Manhattan Portage coin purse. First, for breath, I have some Listerine Cold Mint Pocket Packs breath strips. These ones are very lightweight and provide instant fresh breath. Next, I have several floss picks. These ones are made by Dentec. They're the Dentec Triple Clean Advanced Clean Floss Picks. These ones are really handy when you're out and about and you just need to floss your teeth really quick. And then last, for brushing my teeth, I have some disposable toothbrushes. These ones are the Clean's Mini Brushes disposable toothbrushes with toothpaste and pick. These ones work great when on the go. There's no water needed and no rinsing necessary. And those are all the items that I'm storing in the Dental Hygiene Mini Module. Now let's move on to the top right outer pocket. I just have a few items stored in this particular pocket. The first one being a Bluetooth speaker. This is the JBL Go 4 Ultra Portable, Waterproof, and Dustproof Bluetooth speaker. Sometimes when I'm out and about, the cell phone speaker just isn't cutting it, so it's nice to have some extra firepower when listening to music. This one is small in size, but loud in sound. I could recharge this one using USB-C, and it's nice to have an extra boost to your musical entertainment. Also stored to the bottom of this pocket is a portable urinal. I store one Travel John resealable disposable urinal. Since the last version of my Urban EDC Backpack, I've had to use this on a few different occasions, and it totally saved the day. I highly recommend including these Travel Johns in all of your emergency kits, in addition to storing in your vehicle. Now let's move on to the bottom two outer pockets, starting off first with the bottom left pocket. This pocket stores probably the most used item that I have in my Urban EDC Backpack, and that is a high-capacity USB power bank. This is the Anker 737 power bank, which is a 24,000 milliamp hour battery. It has 3 ports and can be used as a laptop portable charger with 140 watt output. This one's been a game changer for me. It's a little on the heavy side, weighing in at 1 pound 6 ounces. But for Urban EDC purposes, it's been worth it for me. I'm able to charge my phone, laptop, and other electronic devices multiple times from this charger. And at 24,000 milliamp hours, it meets TSA requirements, so you'll have no problem going through the airport with this particular battery, which works great for airline travel. Again, the Anker 737 power bank. Now let's move on to the bottom right outer pocket of the backpack. This one is used for medical trauma purposes. Starting off at the top, I have a white Manhattan Portage mini module that stores nitrile gloves. In a real medical emergency, it's always good to have some nitrile gloves on you, and I store around 3 pairs in this coin purse. The primary item stored in this outer pocket is a tourniquet. This is the North American Rescue Cat Combat Application Tourniquet. This one is the official tourniquet of the U.S. Army. It's proven to be able to stop the blood flow in both upper and lower extremities, and can be a one-handed application tourniquet as well. I have mine folded and staged for quick deployment, which I learned on a video by PrepMedic. I'll provide a link in the description box. If you're going to carry a tourniquet, you're going to definitely want to have it staged so it can be rapidly deployed in an emergency. And as you'll see in PrepMedic's video, an improperly folded tourniquet could be the difference between life and death. I also have the strap staggered slightly to make it easier to unfold when you're wearing gloves. Again, the North American Cat Tourniquet. Also stored in this pocket, I have some medical shears. These are the Madison Supply medical shears for EMT and trauma. They're 7.5 inches and can be used for cutting bandages or clothing in emergencies. I figured I would store them nearby the tourniquet, just in case. And those are all the items that are stored in the bottom right outer pocket of the Urban EDC Backpack. Now let's start going through the main compartments of the Urban EDC Backpack. There's 2 main storage compartments on this backpack, one in the front and one in the back. The one in the back is where you want to store your laptop. This is the main compartment that I use for Urban EDC purposes when at the office. Let's start going through all of those items now. The first item is my laptop. This is just an Apple MacBook Pro that I use for both personal and work. The next item that I have in my Urban EDC backpack is a ballistic shield. This one is the Premier Body Armor 3.0 Level 3A backpack insert. This is a lightweight, flexible, soft panel that is tested to meet the NIJ ballistic standards for Level 3A. It's made in the USA and weighs just over 1 pound. This is also TSA approved, so you can take it through the airport without any issues. In years past, I never felt the need to have a ballistic shield in my backpack, but for the past several years, I've been including one as a mandatory item. I work in downtown Seattle, and year after year, things just get a little bit more rough. So this ballistic shield, while not foolproof, provides me a little bit of peace of mind when out and about in the urban environment. To go along with my laptop, I also have a Faraday bag. This is the Mission Darkness Faraday bag for laptops. I don't always have my laptop stored in this, but on certain occasions when in public areas, I do store my laptop in this for signal protection and data security. When your laptop is stored in here, it is completely off the grid. You're not going to be able to send or receive signals to it. Also stored in this compartment, I have my Apple charger for my MacBook Pro, and I store this one in a mesh bag. In a previous video, I showed how I use the mesh bags for storing cables to help prevent them from unwinding when they're in storage. Stored in one of the inner pockets, I also have a Faraday sleeve for my phone. This one is also made by Mission Darkness. It's the Mission Darkness Dry Shield Faraday phone sleeve. Again, this is a signal blocking phone sleeve for privacy and security. If I ever want to take my phone off the grid, I just put it in the Mission Darkness Faraday phone sleeve and it digitally disappears. I like having this one in addition to the laptop Faraday bag because this one is small for EDC purposes, so I could store it in a jacket pocket when out and about. Stored next to that Faraday bag, I also have a little hygiene mini module stored in a Ziploc bag. I just have a few individually wrapped items that are stored in here. The first one being some dude wipes. These are on-the-go flushable wipes. Although even though they say they're flushable, I don't recommend flushing them in the toilet because they don't break down in the same way that regular toilet paper does. But I have these for emergency bathroom situations, if you know what I mean. Next, I have some hand wipes. These are the Wet Ones single sensitive skin individually wrapped moist wipes. These can be used for various sanitation purposes, and I prefer the sensitive skin ones. They don't have a heavy fragrance to them. And last, I have one tampon. This is one of those emergency hygiene essentials, and while it's not used by me personally for its original design purpose, I think it's good to have one just in case to save the day. And those are all of the hygiene items that are stored in that little Ziploc bag. Also stored in one of the inner pockets, I have some sticky notes. These are the Post-it super sticky notes 4 by 6 inches. I used to carry more of a notebook in my Urban EDC backpacks, but I found that I didn't really need to use it that much, and I preferred having these sticky notes. Most of the things that I need to write for EDC purposes are just kind of one-off notes. One of the main items that I use in this particular compartment is my electronics module. This one is stored in a yellow Cardinal zipper bag. Let's start going through all the items now. The first item is an Anker Nano Charger 47 watt USB-C charger. Next, I have various USB cables that I use in conjunction with the charger. I like going with either Anker or OEM charging cables. I find that they're more reliable to use than those other type of cables that are like 2-in-1 or 3-in-1. Those ones always seem to break down with me over time. So I have a few different USB-C to Lightning cables, and then I also have just standard USB cables. I also carry one of the Apple MagSafe chargers, which is a wireless charger for fast charging capabilities. The Apple MagSafe charger works really great for fast on-the-go charging. I also have a USB-C to aux cable for times when I need to connect my phone to a stereo that doesn't support Bluetooth. The next item is a small SD card reader. This is the Anker USB-C and USB 3.0 SD card reader. It's a 2-in-1 memory card reader with dual connectors, and I largely use it for quickly transferring video files from my camera to my laptop. Next, I have a car charger. This one is the Anker USB-C car charger 40 watt 2-port Power IQ 3.0 Type-C adapter. I've largely used this one when traveling and having a rental car. And last, I have a USB hub. This is the Anker 332 USB 5-in-1 hub. This one works great for office settings where you could connect your laptop power cable, connect the laptop to an HDMI port, and connect a few different USB devices to the laptop as well. And those are all the items that are stored in the electronics module of my Urban EDC backpack. The last item stored in the bottom of this particular compartment are some gloves. These are some Kevlar-lined leather gloves made by Hatch. They're cut resistant, which works great for emergency purposes. For EDC purposes, I largely use these when it's cold outside, but I wanted to make sure that I had some high-quality cut-resistant gloves for urban emergency purposes. You want to protect your hands during evacuation situations and also in fire situations. Again, the Hatch Kevlar-lined leather gloves. And those are all the items that are stored in that back compartment of the Urban EDC backpack. Now let's start going through all the items that are stored in the front storage compartment of the Urban EDC backpack. This particular compartment is not used as heavily as the back compartment is, which has my laptop, but I store more emergency preparedness supplies in this particular compartment, ranging from tools, medical, and survival equipment. Before getting to those individual modules, there's a few sleeves in there for writing instruments, so I have quick access to a pen and pencil. This is the Pentel Sharp Automatic Drafting Pencil, 0.9 millimeters. I also have a pen in there. This is the Zebra Pen F701 retractable ballpoint pen. Now let's move on to some of the modules that are stored in this compartment. Let's start off first with my EDC organizer. This is the VanQuest EDCM Husky 2.0 organizer. This one contains things like small tools and office supplies. In the outside pocket of the EDC organizer, I have some $1 bills. These could be used for various purposes, although I find that I most commonly use these with vending machines. And also stored next to those dollar bills are some stamps. Every once in a while, I or someone else needs a stamp, so I carry several in this particular pocket. Now let's open up the organizer and go through all the tools. Starting off first with the Tweezerman tweezers. These could be used for hygiene purposes or for detailed handling of tiny items. Stored next to it, I have one Bic lighter. As preppers, I think that we should all be able to start fire whenever need be. Next to that, I have a flashlight. This is the Olight O-Clip rechargeable EDC flashlight which is 300 lumens and is a pocket clip design. It's USB-C rechargeable and can be connected to your backpack to help provide visibility or to let other people easily see you when it's dark outside. Next, I have one Sharpie marker. Next to that, I have another one of the Pentel mechanical pencils. And again, another Zebra F701 retractable ballpoint pen. For pens and pencils, I like having a little bit of redundancy. Moving on to the right side, I have some nail clippers. These are the large toe clippers made by Green Bell. They're made of stainless steel out of Japan. Next to that, I have a small ratchet tool. This is the Toe Peak Mini Ratchet. This one used to be stored in my Urban EDC Altoid kit, but over the years it made its way into the organizer. Stored next to it, I also have a tamper-proof torque bit set. These are for security screws, which I've been using lately. Sometimes I interchange this with different bit sets that I've used over the years, but right now at the making of this particular video, this is the bit set that I've been including. Next to that, I have some scissors. These are probably my favorite EDC scissors. They're the Ginger Craft scissors, which are made out of Italy. I've had these ones for several years and they still remain very sharp. Next, I have some pliers. These are the Nipex 5-inch mini pliers wrench. While I carry a multi-tool for EDC purposes, this particular pliers wrench complements that tool. By the way, I've heard this brand pronounced different ways over the years, whether it be Knipex or Nipex. But regardless, I really like this mini pliers wrench. The last tool stored in the webbing of the EDC organizer. This is the VHA 16-piece system, ESD slotted Phillips and Torx micro bit set. I did a review of this one probably 10 years back and still really like it all these years later. Now let's move on to the back storage pockets. First, I have a little Westcott 6-inch flexible metric ruler, which I use for creating straight lines and taking measurements. Also stored back there, I have some batteries. I've been really liking the slimline battery case. I've been using the Energizer lithium batteries for EDC purposes because they're lighter weight and last for longer. The slimline battery case is nice because each battery is stored in its own little separate compartment, so none of the batteries are actually touching each other. I have one for AA batteries and also for AAA batteries. Let's move on to the right side. I have several zip ties that are stored in the right pocket of the EDC organizer. Zip ties are very versatile and can be used for a variety of different tasks. Next, I have some gaffer tape. I like using gaffer tape for EDC purposes because it's less sticky than duct tape, but is still a good adhesive tape for various purposes. And stored underneath that, I also have some duct tape. Lately, I've been using the Ready Tape compact flat fold duct tape. You can buy this in a multi-pack in various colors, and they do the flat fold wrap job for you. And those are all of the items that I store in my EDC organizer of my Urban EDC Backpack. The next item stored in the front compartment is my medical module, also known as an IFAK or individual first aid kit. This one is stored in a red Cardinal zip bag. I have another video coming out that's going to go into more detail with regard to my tiered medical module approach. So we'll go through this one fairly quickly. In this medical module, I have various Ziploc bags that have different size bandages. The first Ziploc bag is the most commonly used one, and that's just regular Band-Aids. I have a lot of different types of Band-Aids in this one. I have the Band-Aid brand flexible fabric adhesive bandages, in addition to some Hydro Seal wound care bandages. Also stored in here are several Curad alcohol prep pads. I like this particular brand because they're a little thicker and have a lot of moisture to them. For burns, I like carrying Manuka honey. These ones are made by Wetherspoon. This Manuka honey is a product of New Zealand. It's unpasteurized. I largely use these for burns. And if you really want to have a little sugar snack for EDC purposes, you could also eat it. And those are all of the items that are stored in the Band-Aids Ziploc bag. Next, I have a Ziploc bag for small wound dressings. Starting off first, I have various sizes of 3M Steri-Strips, which have come in handy on multiple occasions for reinforced skin closures. I also have a few 2x2 Aquacel Extra modern wound dressings. This is kind of my gauze replacement, and it turns into a gel-like substance when it touches liquid. To use in conjunction with that, I have some small Tegaderm film. I also have some bordered silicone foam dressing, in addition to some bordered hydrocolloid dressing. These are all 2x2, so for smaller wounds. I also have a few MediPoint Splinter Out splinter removers. And last, I have some Sting Kill first aid antiseptic swabs for things like bug bites and bee stings. I also have a Ziploc bag for large wound dressings. It's basically the same items, just the larger version. I have a few 4x5 Aquacel Extra Hydrofiber absorbent dressings. And to go along with those, I also have several 3M Tegaderm transparent film dressings. When used together, these work great for healing wounds. Also stored in there, I have a few different silicone adhesive border foam dressings. Also stored in the medical module, I have a wound closure Ziploc bag. These are known as Sutures Butterfly Band-Aids. It's basically a surgical laceration repair kit without sewing. These ones are pretty easy to use. They're strong and secure and also cost effective. Also stored in the medical module, I have a few different ointments. The first one being some Neosporin Original Antibiotic Ointment. And then last, I have a small 1-ounce container of Bag Balm. I find this to be a miracle ointment that has a wide variety of various use cases. And those are all the items that are stored in the EDC medical module of my Urban EDC Backpack. At the bottom of the front compartment of the Urban EDC Backpack, I have my survival module. This is stored in a Klein Tools canvas bag, which is of a little higher durability than those Cardinal bags that we saw for the other kits. This particular module is meant to have critical items for emergency purposes only. Starting off first, I have a contractor bag. This is a heavy-duty contractor bag that has a wide variety of different emergency preparedness use cases. I also have one emergency mylar thermal blanket. This is for warmth during emergency situations. I also have one emergency poncho. This is also made of mylar material. I have this one in green to be a little bit more discreet if in an evacuation situation. Next, I have an emergency radio. This is the Sangean DT400W AM/FM digital weather alert pocket radio. I've had this one for about 15 years and it still works great. And I also have some headphones that are connected to it to allow you to listen to things discreetly, and it also serves as an antenna for the radio. For hands-free illumination during a possible emergency situation, I also have one headlamp. This one's been long discontinued. I've had it for around 15 years, but it still works great. This is the Petzl Tika XP2 headlamp, and I think a headlamp provides good complementary redundancy with your normal handheld EDC flashlight. Next, I have a couple whistles. These are the Fox 40 classic whistles with breakaway lanyard. And I've been storing 2 whistles now in my kits instead of just one. If you're in a true emergency situation where you need to use a whistle, you're most likely going to have to whistle with someone else. So it's good to have 2 or more. Next, I have some headwear. Instead of having a bandana, I've been using the Buff Original headwear for sun or cold protection. I think online they call this a neckwear item now. But for me, I use it as headwear. I like the Buff hats better than a bandana because it's easier to put on your head. It also covers your ears as well, which I like for sun protection purposes. Next, for accessing water sources, I have one 4-way Silcock key. This is one of those mandatory urban survival items that you should carry in your kits. It's used for accessing the water spouts on industrial buildings. I also have one chemical light. This is my favorite brand. You basically snap it in half and it provides illumination for multiple hours. And then last, I have some cordage. Instead of using paracord, which is a popular prepper item, I've been using tarred bank line twine. You could use cordage for a wide variety of various survival purposes. I have it wrapped around a mini pry bar. This is the Vaughan 5.5-inch mini pry bar, made in the USA. You could use it for prying or removing nails, but I've been using it to wrap the bank line around. And those are all the items that are stored in that survival module of the Urban EDC Backpack. This particular module weighs in at just under 2 pounds, which is a little on the heavy side, but for an urban emergency, I would like to have a lot of these items with me, just in case. So I feel that the weight is warranted. There's just a few more items remaining. In the front compartment of the backpack, there's a small zippered pocket area, which I store a few different docs. So I carry a Seattle street map. This one is made by Rand McNally. And while most of us probably have maps available on our smartphones, I think it's also good to have a paper map for emergency situations. And the last item stored in the Urban EDC Backpack version 5 is my survival cheat sheet. These are laminated cheat sheets, which I showed a few years ago, that has a variety of different facts and survival techniques that you could use in an emergency situation. I provided a link to this PDF, which you could download and you could have printed at your local print shop and laminated to include in your various emergency preparedness kits. And that wraps up all the items that are stored in version 5 of the Urban EDC Backpack. I know that there was a lot of items that were featured in this video, and some of you may be asking yourselves, well, how much does this thing weigh? I mentioned in the beginning of the video that the backpack itself weighs a little bit less than 4 pounds. When this version of the Urban EDC Backpack is fully loaded, it weighs in at 15.9 pounds total, which I thought was pretty good considering that the backpack itself weighs 4 pounds. Some of the items included in here weigh more than others. For example, the EDC organizer weighs 1 pound 10 ounces. The electronics module weighs in at 14.8 ounces. That large anchor battery weighs in at 1 pound 6 ounces, and the survival module is just under 2 pounds. But personally, I don't mind having that weight included for the Urban EDC Backpack to provide me with more capabilities in an urban environment for emergency purposes and EDC purposes. You may have noticed that a few things weren't included in here, like a water bottle, for example. I've been finding that I just carry my water bottle in my hand most of the time, and this doesn't have a pocket anyway. I've been using a Yeti water bottle for EDC purposes. There's also a few items that I had in previous versions of the Urban EDC Backpack which didn't make its way into this version of it, most likely because I found that I didn't use it often enough to warrant including it in the newer version. But all in all, this backpack has been working pretty well for me for urban EDC purposes when in downtown Seattle. Again, everyone should have different EDC kits. Most likely, your EDC needs are going to be completely different than what I've listed in this video because you're probably in a different work environment or in a different region. However, I feel that the modular concept could apply for different situations depending on your personal needs. So if you're in a rural environment, you probably have a different backpack, but you could still use that modular approach to help with organization. So while this system works well for my day-to-day needs, it's designed to be adaptable and can be tailored to fit a variety of lifestyles and scenarios. This version of the Urban EDC Backpack simply reflects what has been effective for me and may offer some practical insights to others who are looking to refine their own EDC approach. As mentioned, I have a PDF document that you could download to get a full listing of all the items that were covered in this video. That's going to do it for this video featuring my updated Urban EDC Backpack version 5.0. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching this video. Please feel free to leave any kind of comments below in the comment section regarding this video, and stay tuned for more videos featuring urban emergency preparedness. See you next time.